Overbilled by hospitals, underpaid by insurance, denied claims. Oh my gosh, we've all had these medical insurance nightmare issues, massively complicated, bills to read, navigating all of the things. You wish you had a roadmap when it comes to navigating the bills when somebody's been sick. And God forbid, it's been a big disease, but we've all experienced it. We've all had those situations in our families and in our lives. And it's so overwhelming and so frustrating and exhausting, particularly when you don't know how to maneuver the difficult insurance market. What if you had a superhero on your side to navigate those medical bills, or those of your aging parents, right? What if this lady and our guest today could be in your pocket when those situations come up, or God forbid, they're right now and you need her, right? I can't wait for you to meet her. We're going to introduce her in just a second. But if you are watching live from any other platform other than the Aaron Strayer Show, there's a link above you in the comments on some of the platforms we're on. Go ahead and click that. Come on over to and watch us over here on the Aaron Strayer Show. This is where we are all about promoting, cultivating, and expanding amazing female entrepreneurs that are out in the world doing things just a little bit differently. And we talk about hot topics and pain points like, oh my gosh, medical insurance is a massive, massive pain point for so many of us. We're going to give you workarounds, tips, and resources to that particular challenge today on the Aaron Strayer Show. I am Aaron Strayer, and recovering corporates and entrepreneurs hire me to get them business beyond the basics, because most are indecisive, they're held hostage by their own fear, and quite frankly, have settled for average. Nobody's okay with average. So I keep them on track by helping them set obtainable goals, getting out of their own way, and plugging gaping holes in their business and personal lives. And bottom line, I provide peak performance scaling strategies for growth-minded entrepreneurs, so that you and your business get the attention to detail it deserves. You can find me at aaronstrayer.com. She is an author, a speaker, the CEO of MedWise Insurance Advocacy, and she is a medical claim advocate. In other words, she's on your side. Adria Gross brings over 2 decades of experience in the insurance and advocacy field, quickly uncovering discrepancies in diagnostic or procedural coding, finding loopholes through which insurance companies attempt to deny claims. We've all seen those. And her extensive relationship with attorneys helps her help individuals and families resolve medical claims. Seriously, you guys, we're going to dive deep today with Adria Gross. Oh my gosh, she really helps reduce your medical bills and your liens by 75 to 90% of the charges that are incurred. Please welcome Adria Gross. Hello.
Thank you, Aaron. Thank you for having me on.
I'm really, really good. I'm really excited to have you here. And I know this is going to be an intense conversation today. You are massively passionate about this issue of medical insurance. Clearly, it's your wheelhouse. It's where you live, eat, breathe, pray every single day. And I think there's going to be a lot of after conversations today for you. I think people are going to be really absorbing this information that you're going to be dropping for us today. But can you, you stepped into this field kind of by default. Yeah. With your own advocacy.
Right. That's absolutely true. I was a very sick child. And what I'm about to say was published in Reader's Digest a little over a year and a half ago. When I was 11 and a half years old, I'm in Hebrew school, not feeling well. We had a map of Israel, I had to write down the cities. And I raised my hand, Rabbi, I don't feel well. I was very nauseous. So long story short, I walked down the hall, a friend of mine took me down and sat in a chair. And when I sat in the chair, I went into a coma. And I woke up almost 10 hours later. As I opened my eyes, lying in the hospital bed and looking straight ahead, as I opened my eyes, I saw a cross on the wall thinking I was in heaven. But to the right was the rabbi and to the left was my parents. And I went, holy cow, where am I?
Mm-hmm.
That day, until almost 25 years later, I lived with epilepsy. I used to average 18 seizures a month. At one point, I was on 32 pills a day. The seizures were never controlled. I had a really tough life. And so anyhow, after the brain surgery, I did have a degree in education, but they wouldn't certify me because it was before the Disabilities Act of 1990. So I couldn't become a teacher. I wanted to be a teacher since I was 10. Now I had to find a new career. I wound up working in the garment industry for 10 years. And then after the brain surgery, I had a left temporal lobectomy. It was 30 years ago this past March. I've been seizure-free since, but it was amazing that here I left the garment industry and my first job was working for an insurance company. Within 2 weeks, they taught me how to deny claims. So after 2 years there, I then went to another insurance company where I worked for 10 years. And again, within 2 weeks, they taught me how to deny. The second insurance company really taught me a lot. I was also helping underwriting. I was writing policies. I know policies inside and out because here I was writing them and I was using them for the claims area. But I learned at the second company, when someone is really having a problem with those medical bills and they keep on getting the denials or whenever issues are occurring, I learned how to twist their arm. Not that it always works, but in most cases it does. And it's just been amazing about what I have been able to do because I know what the laws are. I know how the policies are written. I know what the payout normally is to the insurance companies. And when that person is not getting their claims paid, it's pretty tough on them. And this is the major reason for bankruptcy in the United States. So now I'm in a situation where I get them out of that situation. I save them money, and most people are very grateful.
Yeah, I know that was one thing when we had our initial conversation, just the overwhelming gratitude that your clients have when they find you and really realize that you are on their side, not that, you know what I mean? Your biggest issue is to make sure that your clients, the patients, are really what are advocated for, not gouged. And really to find that bottom line and really not to not pay the hospitals, but or the insurance companies, but to really make it so it's fair for everybody at the end of the day. And I just want to really applaud you for the position that you've stepped into, and you truly are an expert in this field. And why is it so stinking complicated?
Because, they'll take your money, the insurance companies, but they don't want to pay it out. And I mean, I've worked for individuals, I've worked for hospitals, I work for doctors. It's really awful because the insurance companies, I worked for them. That was my first job. And then I opened up a billing business after 12 years at two insurance companies. I had the billing business now for 14 years, but through even submitting the bills to the insurance companies and also, having the experience working with the insurance companies, they take the money, but they don't want to give it out.
Mm-hmm.
There are certain things that even when you look at the policies, when you look at those policies and you see what is covered and what's not covered, you'll see things that they used to cover that they won't anymore because they're losing too much money. And their concern is always, well, if I hold on to this money, at least we'll be able to pay the claims if we want to. The situation when I worked at one of the insurance companies, it was a disabilities case. And they held that money for 2 years. It was $1 million that had to be paid out. When they finally went through those 2 years, they sent the client a draft saying, you'll have to wait another 30 days.
No kidding. No kidding. Yeah, I just don't get it. And the hang up and the stress and the just the overwhelming frustration for the patients and the families of the patients. Like, the patients really don't even have the wherewithal to deal with it, really, most of the time, the people that come to you, right? Like, it's
They don't know how to read the explanation of benefits.
right.
I even tell people when they go in the hospital, I lecture about, the bills going to the hospital, or, whatever the bills are, is you really have to be very careful, because a lot of people don't even understand explanation of benefits. They might just pay out what it claims that they're responsible for. But when you see that bill from the doctor or the hospital, it might not be that much that you owe.
Yeah.
To make sure, hey, look, this is the bill. Compare it with the explanation of benefits. I tell people, when you're in the hospital, if you can have someone there with you who can keep a list of the medications, the doctors who came in to see you, exactly what they did. If you have that list, that's going to help you, because a lot of times even the hospitals ask for more money, and doctors do this too. More money of even what they treated you for. You'll see bills from doctors who never even came in the room to see you.
Right?
You should keep track of everything. If you have a relative or a friend who can be there with you, bring them in to help you.
Yeah. And keep notes, right? Like, who came in? Who were they? What are they doing?
What days were they there? What times were they there?
Yeah.
Right.
Those kind of things are things that I don't think that normal people would even think about doing. They're just happy that they saw a doctor come into the room, right? They're not even in their right mind to think, man, I need to be logging who comes into the room, how long they're here, so that I can track this with the bill that they're going to send me at the end of the day.
Right. The other thing is, like, even the doctors, like I said to you, sometimes they'll write bills where they didn't really perform those services. And people are too scared, thinking, oh my God, who's going to take care of me?
Right.
You're right. It's like, and they're scared to do anything about it.
Yeah. And I think maybe not so much for our young people, but I know for my generation and older, we're in the mindset that we're not to question. The doctor's the authority, right? The hospital is clearly taking care of me. What if I question that? What if I question anything? Are they not going to follow through with my treatment? Are they not going to, right? Am I going to be red flagged somewhere?
Right.
Instead of being that advocate and asking questions and making sure and keeping track of, so that the checks and balances can equal out on the back end.
Right.
And hold everybody accountable. So I want to talk just a little bit about, clearly not mentioning names, but like some of the things that when these overcharged, these dead end claims, the denied claims, the out of network charge, like all of those things that for me are like, whoa, like, what do I do with that? I know that that's a lot of what people come to you for, for advice or recommendations or direction. Can we talk about those specific things for a minute, and like what some of those denied things look like, what some and the workarounds?
So I'm going to give you some examples of cases.
Yeah, good.
So there's just a case that I overturned recently. It was $200,000. The woman, she has a brain tumor. She didn't know where she was. She went to someone else's home. She drove onto the driveway, and the gentleman who owned the house came outside to help her, because she didn't know where she was. And she had to be, I don't know, maybe 30, 40 miles away from her home. So he calls an ambulance, and they come to get her, and they took her to a hospital that was not on their plan. The bill is over $200,000. I know the hospital. I know the insurance company. An attorney sent that case to me because the family was really worried. Hey, what's going on here? How are we going to get around it? So the attorney sent them to me to take care of it. I called the insurance company. I called the hospital. And lo and behold, they decided to pay out $38,000 out of the 200, and the family owes $0. Yeah. And like, another case that I had, there's this woman who, a lot of times you can get your insurance through the state. There's limitations on it since that first came out with Obamacare. And it's so limited. You might only have one choice. There is no choice. This is it. So a hospital in New York, this is the one where I got the $1 million paid out. The hospital in New York, they were no longer accepting this policy that was provided through the state. And she had stage 4 cancer already. She was on her 4th year. She couldn't switch doctors. She couldn't switch hospitals. I fought with, first I went to Department of Insurance for the state of New York. We were really not getting anywhere. So then I went to the Attorney General. And while this whole thing is going on, I'm going back and forth with the insurance company, the Attorney General. Lo and behold, she hired me in May. She died the end of October. 3 weeks after she died, the insurance company agreed to pay out that $1 million to the hospital. That's another case. There was another case that came along. This was a $500,000. The woman had all the pre-authorizations, everything that she needed. Everything was going to take care of. The doctors, everything. She came from Ohio to New York, and I just for everybody's information, I'm a national company. I deal with all the states. I've had many from a major hospital out in California. I've done like at least 6 to 7 cases with them already. But this one, everything was approved. She has the procedure done. She leaves the hospital. They're after her for $500,000 from all the different providers added up. And I called the providers. I said to them, look, this is all pre-approved. This is what you've been paid already. At this point, I recommend that, you just don't earn any more money. I spoke to the insurance company. I spoke to the providers. Lo and behold, at the end, I saved her $500,000.
And that money, I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, gosh, that's so much money. But in the big picture, that adds up so quickly that, $100,000, $200,000, $500,000, adds up so quickly in the course of an illness, right? Like, that's another thing that I don't think people realize, that one, how expensive it is to be in the hospital and to be sick and to need the care and the medication and the treatment people, right? Like, it all adds up so quickly that number is a pretty normal number.
Right.
When it comes down to it. And, pardon me. I think that, the overwhelm of dealing with that, people would just be throwing their hands up in the air and going, I'm just going to file bankruptcy. Because I have no means.
And I even speak to bankruptcy attorneys and say, look, rather than the person going into bankruptcy, maybe you can bring me in so at least I can negotiate them down. If they can't afford it, I'll get them written off. Some attorneys won't do that because they really want their business. And other attorneys have a heart, and they will.
Yeah. But we don't know that until you get in and be that navigator.
Right.
In between that, and be the go-between person to research the bills, to advocate on behalf of the patient, to have the conversations with the attorneys, because clearly the patient and the family don't have time, don't have the education, don't have the background to back up the conversations.
And on top of that, a lot of attorneys don't even know how to do this. And I'm at a point right now where I lecture before attorneys, financial planners, and CPAs, and they get credits just by listening to me because I'm educating them on what to do.
Did you guys hear that? She lectured to
multiple times lectured before. Yeah.
Medical insurance agencies and medical providers to educate them.
Well, it's really the attorneys, the financial planners.
Financial planners, there you go.
CPAs. In fact, there was an article last January in the CPA Journal, it's a national magazine. I had an article in it. There's another one coming up soon. Because I'm always out there educating the attorneys, the CPAs, and the financial planners on how they can help their clients from having to go into bankruptcy.
And I want to point out, you guys, that Adria is a well-published author. How many books do you have out, Adria?
I have my 2 books here. This one, Solve Curing Your Medical Insurance Problems. When I approached Nader about it. He liked it so much he won an international edition. Solve Curing Your Medical Insurance Problems. And the international edition is, sorry, Multi-Payer Medicine Nightmare Made in the USA.
Yeah.
The delay is hard. Multi-Payer Medicine Nightmare Made in the USA.
So these are not only reference books, they're educational, they are detailed, they are huge resources for people. You have been written up in multiple different magazines, tons and tons and tons of articles. You are a hot topic for presentations to attorneys, CPAs, financial planners, so that they are
associations, especially health-related associations, because their clients are going to need this assistance.
Yeah. 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 So one, if you guys are looking for a speaker to come in and talk to your group of people, Adra's your girl on medical advocacy, specifically in navigating the insurance of medical bills. And I want to jump in because I know you're super passionate. I want to take just a couple minutes because there's a really big thing that you're super passionate about that's out there that people aren't aware of, that's going on in the medical industry right now. And I want to take a couple minutes and talk about that so that the awareness is out there. So
Right.
Can you kind of frame that up?
Yeah, I have notes in front of me, but I also want to just mention there's a 2 midnight, 3 midnight rule. It started out with Medicare, but now it's also the commercial insurers. So the deal is this: involving Medicare and some of the commercial insurers that are really, it's a self-funded, self-insured ERISA plan. When you work for a large corporation, they often have these same rules that have been with Medicare for quite a while. If you don't have 2 midnights in a hospital as an inpatient, let's say they have you under outpatient under observation, you could be lying next to someone else who is an inpatient. But once you get in that hospital, you have to make sure that they make you an inpatient and not outpatient under observation. If not, you're not going to be covered for room and board and medication. That's how it started out with Medicare.
Okay.
Now, even if you have to leave the hospital and go into a nursing facility or a rehab, you need those 3 midnights and as an inpatient, because if you don't have those, you're not going to be covered for the rehab or the nursing home. One who makes the decision whether or not you're an inpatient or outpatient under observation, they have certain rules about it. But the one who you need to go to, which took me a while to learn this, is your doctor. Do not go to the hospital and talk to them. Whoever the doctor is who's taking care of you, they're the ones who have to fight for you to make you an inpatient rather than outpatient under observation. Remember, it's a 2 midnight rule just to be covered for Part A of Medicare. And it's a 3 midnight rule. You have to be in there for 2 midnights or 3 midnights as an inpatient. Otherwise, you're not even going to be covered for a rehab or a nursing facility. And I've had a lot of cases like that. And I try to educate people all the time. I just educate that. And I'm also going to tell you that New York State was the first state that had a surprise bill law. It was April 1st of 2015. And other states are now copying that. And it's really something to know more about. If it's an emergency, they're supposed to cover you. Certain states have accepted it. Certain states have not. But there are more states that are right now. And what you were just about to talk about is it's the Christian healthcare ministries. And I have some notes here with me. I've tried to get this published. I really want to get it out. It was recently in the Wall Street Journal. That was, I think, somewhere between June 11th, 12th of this year. They're called like Association Cost-Sharing Health Plans. If you can help it, you don't want to get on those, because what I see is they're not paying out the claims. They might pay $20 here or $20 there if you see a doctor, but if you wind up in a hospital, usually you're not covered. And I took a look at them. If you look at, one of them is called Trinity Alira. Another one is Liberty Health Share. Another one is MediShare, the last time I looked, which was about 2 to 3 months ago, they had 22 complaints on Better Business Bureau. Liberty HealthShare had 155 complaints.
Wow.
Trinity and Lyra are one company. They had 62 complaints. But what happened in that case, when it went before one of the states, the state didn't do anything about it. In fact, I have the information here. I'm not even going to mention the state. But the state turned around and they blocked it because what's happening, there's certain states are still selling it and they're not publishing it and people are unaware of it. So here they go out and they buy the insurance. And there's a few things I just want to mention. It's a faith-based health sharing like Christian ministries, Altura, Christian Healthcare Sharing, Alira, MediShare, Samaritan Ministries. They're just some of the names that are out there. And they operate outside of the ACA regulations that took place in 2020. And there's some states are really trying to block it, and other states are doing absolutely nothing to help their people. And being religious, like for instance, on the exclusions on the policy, they won't cover abortions, family planning, mammograms, mental health, or addiction treatments. I'd say 20% of my phone calls are people with addictions, and they're not getting their claims paid. They could even have the pre-authorization, but the claims aren't getting paid. And here, these companies are selling insurance where they're not paying unless it's a really minimal bill, and the complaints are outrageous. They're not paying, and these are again the exclusions: abortions, family planning, mammograms, mental health, addictions. There's even more out there. It's very bad.
It's scary, and someone that would normally trust a faith-based health ministry insurance coverage wouldn't even probably second guess or dive deep into, like, I know if it was a faith-based thing, I probably wouldn't even check the Better Business Bureau. I would automatically trust that they're on the up and up, that they are abiding to the laws that are already set out there, that they are paying their claims, that they are following through with what they're doing. Are you kidding me? Like, not even paying for addictions or mammograms? That's crazy.
Right now, like tomorrow, I'm meeting with another company, which is not religious based. And I really want to see what their exclusions are.
Sure.
They don't have any complaints against them. They're paying out the claims. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
But they're not a religious based company. And there is a very large company where different people have different names and they've been selling this. But the other issue is let's say you have a case where they didn't pay it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go to the state and complain about it because they're not registered with the state.
Oh, double whammy.
So you got to make sure if you're going to buy this insurance that they're licensed in the states to sell it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, do your homework, do your due diligence. And I think that's where some of the ignorance comes in too, that we don't even know what to ask. We don't know what to look for. We don't know, which is again, why people, you need Adria in your corner. You need her in your pocket. You need to be hanging out on her website, picking up what she's got, calling her when you got questions, hopping into her lane so that you are covered, period. Like, right? So that she doesn't have to put her expertise to use on the back end. Make sure you're on the front end, picking up the education that you need when it comes to insurance, making sure that you're covered for the normal tests that we should be having anyway.
Right.
If we have somebody that needs to check in for addiction reasons, God forbid that that's part of your family, but let's be real, it's out there. It happens. We don't know when it's going to be us, right? Make sure that you're covered with the insurance and the coverage that you currently own. And by all means, research if you're going to buy another policy, and reach out to Adria if you have questions. For God's sake, get a consult call with her.
And then what you're also saying, I got to tell you this. I mean, it's really important to know what that policy is going to cover and what they're not.
Mm-hmm.
You are planning a major procedure or a surgery. You want to make sure that all those providers are going to be covered by your insurance. Because when and you want it in writing. When they make you this promise, oh, we're part of this insurance, oh, we're going to cover you. Oh, we got this pre-authorization. Everything needs to be in writing. If they're not willing to give it to you, go up the ladder to make sure you get that, because they're verbally told this. They're even told this by insurance companies. They don't have it in writing. Some people are smart enough to start taping it when they're told this, because that's what they use to fight it. Because the insurance companies are saying, oh, we record everything. But then you go to the insurance company, they can't find the recording.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah. That's one of my little behind the scenes, little underhanded. I record everything, every single conversation, every single, like specifically doctor oriented. And that's a double good thing, not only for insurance, but because we remember things different when we're recalling. Just saying. So anyways, you guys, seriously, I am going to totally respect Adra's time, my time, your time. We are at our limit here. Adria is a wealth and a wealth and a wealth of information when it comes to medical insurance, medical issues, coverage, patient advocacy on your behalf. Please, please, please don't hesitate to reach out to her. You can find her at Adria Gross, GROSS.com. And
Can I mention my other website too?
Yeah, for sure.
It's www.medicalinsurancedadvocacy.com. Again, that's www.medicalinsurancedadvocacy.com.
Beautiful. We got that on the screen right here. And so that's her other website as well. Please reach out to Adria. She is wide open. She will help you. She fights on your behalf and the behalf of the patient, and has massive, massive caseloads behind her to back her up and document her success over the years of doing that. And I appreciate you. I appreciate what you do in the world. I appreciate that you are there on my behalf. I hope I never need you in my court. However, I know who I'm going to tap, because I know that it's your passion. It's at a cellular level for you. This is not just a job for you. And it's very, very clear when you're in conversation with Adria that this is not just a job for her. This is a passion, and it's on your behalf, and she's going to fight for you. And I just, seriously, people, adriagross.com or medicalinsurancedadvocacy.com is how you find her on any platform that you wish. Adria, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Lauren. Thank you so much.
So appreciate your knowledge. I so appreciate the tips and that you've brought forward for our audience today. And thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody else, we'll see you right back here soon on the Aaron Strayer Show. Have a great afternoon.